Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. But not today, because a YouTube user, who I will pull up right now, named Jason Y02, 7 hours ago said, I liked hearing about the farm. I think it's a good idea to give like 2 to 3 minutes of what's going on in life and then get down to business. But nothing boring, only the exciting stuff. And I got to get a video up for tomorrow morning, and I kind of want to go to Chuck E. Cheese tonight. So I'm running out of time. I got a Lego Star Destroyer to give to a kid. It's huge. Like, I'm going to need to make my Uber open the trunk. That's how big this thing is. It's sizable. Anyways, I digress. So Jason posted that question 7 hours ago saying, hey, tell me about the farm. And I was like, well, I haven't done that in a long time. I haven't talked about the farm much at all in a long, long time. So here we go. We're going to start with our failures this year. I, over the course of the summer, had to spend a number of weeks during our berry harvest in New York City. And that crushed our ability to properly harvest strawberries, blueberries, of which we usually harvest like, 60 pounds of blueberries. The strawberry patch is growing and it's definitely developing, but the blueberries huge. Like, we're talking, we're pushing 100 plants at this point, of different varieties, mostly tall bush blueberries, fit for zone A, like it really all set. And the blackberries, the raspberries, we have a couple other berry varieties, even the grapes. Almost nothing got harvested of any of those over the course of the summer because I had to be in New York and a couple of other key people weren't available. And our farm manager, I don't know, he's doing what he's doing. So that was a big failure this year. Really a bummer. Because usually I would be vacuum sealing in mason jars, the berries, and then freezing, and then eating those berries all year long until the next berry harvest came along. That's not viable this year. Gonna have to buy berries covered in pesticides from the grocery store. That's a bummer. It is what it is. Gonna have to wash them off. We'll live. Anyways, next item, big success this year. The solar array that I put in with the 2 Tesla wall batteries is doing great. Really offsetting our electric bill, which is sizable. Our electric bill on the farm is about $1,200 per month for a couple of different reasons. There's a couple of people who live on the farm who like to mislead me about heating and air conditioning with electric, even though they're not supposed to do that, but they do. Allegedly, people have said they've seen it. I don't know, and I'm not willing to fight about it. But also, we run a lot of electric fences that short out because we're a little bit lazy about cutting the grass away from electric fences. So those electric fences, they run off the grid. I mean, I guess off of our. They used to run off the grid. Now they run off of our solar power and off the batteries overnight, the house batteries. But they're big. They're big electric fences, so they go a long distance, so they eat up a lot of power. So we also live in an area where the power authority out of Massachusetts is wildly mismanaged. So the electric bill has gone through the roof. And so we can see that our electric bill would have been $1,200 a month, but for the solar array that we put in and the house batteries, the 2 Tesla house batteries. So that's great news, not because everybody else is getting screwed by high electrical bills, but it means that we're coming out ahead much quicker than we expected on the solar array, which is sizable, was a sizable expense, and those 2 house batteries. They're going to get paid off probably in like 8 years instead of, I thought it was going to be like 20 years when I pulled the trigger. But I just thought it was better to have, the power on property because there's so many power outages where I live. Trees come down to the power lines all the time. We have a lot of storms, kind of an old growth forest, and you know, power outages. We were having 6, 7, 8 power outages a year, extensive ones. So it made sense to get the solar and the house batteries, but they're going to pay themselves off much, much sooner than expected, which is a huge, huge fiscal success. Love that. Now, a couple of other big successes this year. The egg layer chickens, we're up to about, I think, 42 in the coop. They have a large run. It's well defended. They're not free range. The egg laying chickens, they're not free range because they just seem like predator bait. For whatever reason, the egg layers are not that great at avoiding predators. They're doing well. We had a mishap. So we had purchased 15 new birds to add to the flock, young birds to keep, you know, when the birds get too old, they don't produce as many eggs. So we had gotten 15 new birds to add to the flock, but someone forgot to move them, refused, just wouldn't do it for whatever reason, to move them out of a certain coop into the big coop. And we lost 12 of those 15 birds to a fox based on just human error or, you know, refusal to do what they were told, I guess, which is very frustrating. But overall, the egg layers are producing really, really well. We're able to give eggs to a restaurant in town and to a food bank and friends and family, you know, which is also tremendous. We love giving eggs away. And next year, we will be smarter about adding more chickens to our egg layer flock. We'll be much more intelligent, much more on top of things, and we'll probably try to add 30 instead of 15 to make up for what happened this year. We also had meat birds of the Freedom Ranger breed on the farm this year. Primarily, we free ranged the Freedom Rangers, the meat birds, to eat up all the ticks and keep everybody safe from ticks because our area has a massive tick infestation, and those ticks are very, very dangerous. We have ticks all the way from Texas and tons of ticks in the Northeast, Lyme disease, weird meat allergy issues. It's just, I mean, the ticks are so bad where we live that, well, they're killing moose calves. That's how bad the tick load is. When a moose calf gets born, they can be overwhelmed by how many ticks are on them and actually kill the child. It's really sad, and it's hurting the moose population. So a couple things we do is we release, I think like 50,000 ladybugs on the property in early spring to try to mitigate the tick population. And then shortly after that, after the ladybugs kind of branch out and move off the property, we start free ranging our meat birds. So we brought in about 100 meat birds this year. I think we lost maybe 10 or 15 to the hot weather, transporting them. They were transported by U.S. mail, which a lot of people don't know is how chickens are often transported. And there was some losses. And that was a bummer. I hate to see that. But we free ranged about 90 of them. And we lost about 29 of those to predators over the course of the summer. But just 2 weeks ago, we processed the 61 survivors, and we put about 610 pounds of better than organic. I can't say organic because I didn't pay for the certification, but it's better than organic. There's no hormones. There's no pesticides in the property. There's no We're way above that classification of organic. Like, organic is sus. When you're buying organic food in the U.S., a lot of times you're just buying food from another country who was like, this would be worth more if we call it organic. So we're just going to lie and say it's organic. So like organic means almost nothing in the grocery store, in my personal opinion. But our chicken is frankly better than organic. We're also on a mountain, so even our neighbors, if they were spraying pesticides or whatever it is, it wouldn't be in the water table. It wouldn't transfer across the land to our property. So it's even better in that sense. And wonderfully, we got about 610 pounds of that sweet, super amazing chicken in the freezer. And that is really exciting. We also have we had a rough year for turkeys. That was definitely a failure. I should have listed that in the failures. There was a really sad mishap. The shipper shipped our turkeys in a completely unacceptable fashion. Um, so we only really produced two 30-pound turkeys this year. Um, but, it is what it is. I can't control vendors. I can stop using them when they act like assholes and hurt animals, which I will absolutely do. But I can't know what they're going to do, and I can't control them. So that's a bummer. Pigs. So we have coon pigs and Idaho pasture pigs, often mixed. We're going to be, come December, processing, I guess I'll say, processing means introducing to the freezer 7 out of 9 of our pigs. We're going to keep a boar and a sow, a breeding pair. The boar is named Pigatoni. But 7 of the pigs are going to be introduced to the freezer, and that'll probably be around 450 pounds of pork in the freezer come December. That's pretty exciting. I'm going to have a little bit of it smoked. A lot of it's going to be nice, pork roast cuts. I love a good pork roast. A lot of pork chops, obviously. I do a mean pork chop. Got a proprietary pork chop seasoning, dry rub that I use that goes over really, really well. A lot of sausage, different varieties of sausage. Very excited for the pork. Also produced about 100 pounds of garlic this year, 60 pounds of potatoes, which is light, not too exciting. Loads upon loads of Roma saucing tomatoes in the freezer to make sauce this winter. Very exciting. Listen, it was a mixed year on the farm. I was not on the farm as much as I wanted to be. I spent some time in New York prioritizing clients over the farm, which, listen, the clients come first. Obviously, the clients have to come first. Normally, most of what I do, I can do from the farm, but sometimes there's stuff you gotta be in the office for. And if that's what the clients need, that's what I got to do. And I have to have other people manage the farm. And, that sometimes that's suboptimal, shall we say. But overall, good year on the farm. Success. Produced a lot of food. Gave a lot of food to food banks. Gave a lot of food to friends and family. Definitely pumped about that. Feel good about that. And it is what it is. Not every year is going to be a huge win. We did our best, and we did good by the environment. Probably we'll run the plow business this year. We'll have our plow guy plow some properties, maybe make some money that way. Maybe. That's a big maybe. We'll see. We're not really selling any firewood right now, just because we're a little low on firewood, and I kind of want to keep it for us, frankly. So it's like one of those things like, well, you could sell firewood. And also firewood sells for like way too much where we are. There's this weird, there's like a local rate. You can get a quart of firewood, like seasoned, dried firewood for like $3.50. But if you're not from the area, it's like $4.50 or $500. And it's kind of weird because people come and they'll expect to spend like $450 on a quart of firewood. And it's one of those things where you have to be like, no, we're not going to charge you the like mass hole rate, right? They call people from Massachusetts mass holes, or the Flatlander rate. I'm a Flatlander. I'm not from the area. So New York, New Jersey, stuff like that, Connecticut, all Flatlanders also hated. Not as hated as the mass holes, I think, but still hated. And listen, I get it, because we're coming from these areas into New Hampshire, and New Hampshire has a specific way of doing things, so they don't want you to come into their area and change the world and change how they, their perspective is, hey, you came here, and they do have a lot of people. They got a lot of people coming from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Oregon, California, all moving into New Hampshire, believe it or not. And people come from all these places, and then they immediately try to change New Hampshire, which is insane, because you moved to New Hampshire because you like the way New Hampshire does things. But the minute you get there, you're like, well, we should change how you do everything. That's dumb, and I completely understand why the locals get frustrated. But by the same token, I don't want to charge some nice lady from Connecticut an extra $100 for a quart of firewood. That feels bad. That feels like I'm being a real jerk and a piece of shit, right? So I don't know. I just kind of didn't talk to anybody about selling firewood this year because I didn't really want to get into it. It's just not worth it because either you're underselling, you're undercutting everybody at $3.50, and they get mad about that. So you have like firewood guys getting surly with you at the only restaurant in town, or you're charging $4.50 and you're hurting all the non-locals, and I don't love that either. So it's kind of just like leave it. Not worth it, right? What's a couple $100 of firewood to me in the scheme of things, right? I'll go work on a case. I'm better using my time anyways, and I don't have to have all this agitation. Anyways, this video got way too long. That's the update on the farm. Close of October 2025. Definitely gonna go up to the farm this weekend, kind of have a little post-Halloween harvest festival, enjoy the fruits of our labor type of deal, lots of baking, lots of saucing, lots of cooking and roasting and fun. And the food is so good when you make it yourself. I got to tell you, I don't know if how many of you have had that experience, but when you raise the food, when you grow the food, and then you cook the food, you process the food, it's very gratifying. I'll say that for sure. Anyways, this was not helpful. Do not like, subscribe, do not comment down below. I don't deserve that, but somebody asked to hear about the farm. So I went ahead and I shared the farm because I love the farm. It's what I do to be happy. And yeah, it makes me happy. All right, everybody. Take care.